I refused to share my inheritance with my cousins after their parents demanded money years later. When I was 8 years old, my grandparents sat me down and told me they were putting me in their will. I remember my grandpa saying I was going to college one day and this money would help me get there. He always called me his smart kid. A year later, my aunt and uncle had their first baby, my cousin Danny. Then a year after that, they had another kid, my cousin Lily. My grandparents loved those babies. They'd babysit all the time and buy them toys and clothes, but they never changed their will. Not once did they mention adding Danny or Lily to it. My grandpa would still tell me the same thing every time I saw him. That money's for your education. You're gonna do big things. Then when I was 11, both my grandparents died within 3 months of each other. First, my grandma had a stroke, then my grandpa just kind of gave up after that. The inheritance got put into a trust that I'd get when I turned 18. At the funeral, nobody talked about money. My aunt and uncle seemed fine. They hugged me and told me how much my grandparents loved me. Fast forward 7 years. I'm 18 now and just got access to the trust. It was $85,000. Not life-changing money, but enough to pay for college and have some left over. I didn't tell anyone except my parents, but somehow my aunt found out. She called my mom asking questions about the trust, whether I'd gotten it yet, how much it was. My mom kept things vague, but I could tell something was up. Then last month, my uncle showed up at our house unannounced. He brought Danny and Lily with him, who are now 10 and 9. He sits down at our kitchen table and starts with his whole speech about family and fairness. Then he drops it. He says 2/3 of that money belongs to Danny and Lily. I just stared at him. He kept going, saying if my grandparents had lived longer and gotten to really know his kids, they definitely would have added them to the will. He said it wasn't fair that I got everything just because I was born first. My uncle even had this whole breakdown ready. He said I should get about $28,000 and each of his kids should get $28,000. Like he'd actually done the math. I asked him why he was bringing this up now, 7 years after they died. He got defensive and said they'd been thinking about it for a while but didn't want to upset me when I was younger. Then he said his kids had expenses coming up and the money would really help their family. I told him no, just flat out no. He looked shocked, like he couldn't believe I'd actually refuse. He started arguing that my grandparents would have wanted all their grandkids taken care of. I said if they wanted that, they had a whole year to change the will. They didn't. My uncle's face got red. He said I was being selfish and greedy, that I was keeping money from my own family. Then he pulled this move that really pissed me off. He looked at Danny and Lily and said, "See kids, this is what happens when people care more about money than family." Like he was trying to make me the villain in front of them. I stood up and told him to leave. He grabbed the kids and stormed out, saying my grandparents would be disappointed in me. My aunt called later that night crying, saying they were struggling financially and I was being cruel. She said the kids asked why their cousin didn't love them. Now half my family isn't talking to me. My uncle posted something vague on Facebook about people who forget where they came from. My aunt keeps texting my mom saying I'm tearing the family apart over money. But here's what really gets me. They never mentioned this money once in 7 years. Not at holidays, not at birthdays, nothing. But the second I turn 18 and can access it, suddenly it's a family emergency and their kids are entitled to it. I asked my dad what he thought and he said my grandparents knew exactly what they were doing. They had a year to add Danny and Lily. They chose not to. The money's mine.